Next level is our monthly membership where your gymnast gets ongoing mental performance training, mental performance coaching based on what she's dealing with in the gym at this time of the year. So in Master Your Gymnastics Mindset, you learn like the foundational concepts of some mental performance training, but then now this is about applying them. So we always kind of talk about Master Your Gymnastics Mindset as like complex. It's where you learn to do the basic movements on the floor of handstands and front limbers and back limbers and all the other things. And then now it's learning to take those and put those on all the events. Now we're doing cast handstands and we're doing Yurchenko vaults using the same motions, but applied completely differently. And that's what we do in Next Level is we help them apply some of these mental performance tools they've already learned. And then we teach them more to help them with what they're going to be facing that month. And this month, it's all about preparing your skills for season. So just like in gymnastics, where you start working on what you need for competition season way back early in the fall, we start working on what their brain needs for competition season in the month of October. We continue that in November, December. It's all about meet season prep for your brain. But in the month of October, it's about preparing the skills that you need. So this means skills that you don't yet have that you need for the next level, or it might mean upping those skills, getting straight legs, pointed toes, splits, all the things that you need on the skills that you already have. So, Allie, you want to take it away with week one?
Week one, we actually dive into a reminder of like, what in the world is your season goal? Are you trying to qualify to a regionals or nationals? Are you trying to get a certain score? Are you trying to get recruited? Like, what is your actual season goal? We write it down really specific. It helps your gymnast at this time reset and be like, oh yeah, this is what I want. And then from there, we go through some of the stuff Stacy just said of like, okay, what are all the skills in order to reach that goal? What are all the skills that you need to get that you don't have on competition level mats yet? Maybe you're still on one mat in a pit and you need to get them up a little higher. Maybe you're on a medium beam and need to move to a high beam. Like, where are you at if you don't have them on comp level mats? And then the next section is all about like, okay, now all the skills that you do have, what are some corrections or changes that you need to make to help you get to that next level? So maybe you have your flight series on high beam, but you have some bent knees and you know that you need to get some tense back, so like what are the things that you need to do? Hit your 180 splits and really focus them in on those things. And then lastly, what are things outside of the gym? Now that school has started, are you getting enough sleep? Are you bringing your snacks? Are you doing the things that you need to be doing? Obviously mindset coaching too, in order to reach those goals. And week one, I feel like is one of those super fun resets of like, oh yeah, this is what I want. This is why I want it. And I'm capable of getting there from this. And it's a good bump into what's going on in week two, which Stacy's going to tell you about a little bit more.
Yeah. And one of the things I love about week one is they've kind of just been in the grind of getting the skill for a long time. And all of a sudden when you bump it up to like, okay, well, you want your season goal to be to get a 9.5 on every event. Well, those bent knees, that's not going to happen. And so all of a sudden they're motivated to make those changes now while they still really have a lot of time to make them in ways that they weren't. So week two, we go into dealing with nervousness, frustration, and doubt. And we actually have a whole course inside of Next Level called Overcome Fear, Frustration, and Failure that goes really deep into what we cover in week two. So if your gymnast is really struggling with fear or with frustration, and she has a skill or two skills or three skills that she does not have, this is a good time to direct her to go through that course. We kind of do a mini version of that course in week two where we review it. But if she's really struggling, having her go back through that whole thing, or maybe even if she was a part of the Ultimate Upgrades camp or you got the Ultimate Upgrades as a bonus, this is a time to go back through that course. But the idea is helping her learn how to deal with her feelings of fear and frustration, or all of that when she's tried again and again and again and again and not gotten the skill, or where she had the skill and now all of a sudden she can't do it. She's usually dealing with a lot of feelings of failure, of shame, of embarrassment, of panic that she's not going to be able to get it in time, of defeat. like I'm defeated with this. And so we really help them refocus on how to deal with those feelings, how to refocus their brain on what's actually true, on their capabilities, and then how to focus in on what she actually needs to do to get this skill. We also have a whole like parents free video series on this. If you want to know more about that, we have a webinar. Like we have a lot of free resources around this because this is the panic point is in October for that. So we've just created a lot around it. So if this is your kid, if she's really, really struggling with this, these are places where you can get more resources and where she can get more resources as well. All right, then we move on to week 3. Allie, you want that one?
Try one thing at a time. So week 2 is kind of a little bit more about those skills that maybe she doesn't have yet, where she needs to get there. I feel like week 3 is a little bit more for those skills that you're trying to make that correction on or that change on, to get consistent or to get those straight legs. And it's trying one thing at a time. And I know in school at some point you've all learned the scientific method, and that's actually what we teach with the skill. It's all, they feel stuck at this point. Like, well, like I've tried straightening my leg and I just can't do it. And they just feel stuck. And it's a really good way to help them brainstorm new things to try, different ways to try it, to feel encouraged if it doesn't work, to try something else, and to stay motivated to do the new things that could help them get there. Because when we feel stuck, we tend to stay stuck because we aren't willing or able at that time to make changes that gets us unstuck. So that's the whole point here of like, let's try and help them figure out what are things that they can try to get them unstuck, what went well from that, what didn't go well, what can we change going into the next practice, and actually get evidence on what's working and what's not working. And me and Stacey are both kind of nerds, so we love this week, but I will say it's one of our gymnasts' favorite things. They really, truly like it. And they're like, oh, they have, a lot of them have that kind of brain too. And they're like, oh, this makes sense. Okay, I feel like I can do it now. So it's a really fun week to help those girls really see the process of learning and not just I've got it or I don't. And that's why I really love it. So Stacey, in that we kind of help them with the failing part next. Right. Yeah. We don't like failing as gymnasts.
Well, we used to call that, what do we used to call it? Like get like release the drama or stop with the drama, math instead of drama or something. But it's just that idea of turning it into a very curious science instead of being dramatic about it. And we do the same in week 4 with how many worthy fails that you can get. I love this that I heard recently. I think, I don't remember who it was, Napoleon, like a famous, anyways. So the failure is the steps on the path to success. And we always used to say success is built on a pile of failures, which I love that. But literally, like the path to success is built on failure, because failure just means I didn't achieve what I wanted to this time. And so when we look at failures that way, like I tried something that was new and was hard, but it didn't go how I wanted. What happens with kids is then they feel embarrassed and they shut down about it and they give up. And what we teach them in this time is to actually plan what are worthy fails. So things that I could try towards getting or improving my skill, that if they happened would really help me, that I'm going to give a good old honest try to do, but I'm planning that some of them are not going to work, because that is the path. And so instead of then making that mean something, then they use the scientific method to evaluate what didn't work about that, and then what is their next worthy fail that they're going to try. And the idea is to actually get worthy fails instead of avoiding fails, because failures mean they are on that path to success. So you want to get down that path instead of like stopping and not continuing to go. All right. And then we finish it up with
celebrating. Whoop, whoop. This is one of my all-time favorite ones. And here's the deal. We kind of call this part of season the grind. It is the grind. I mean, think about, we just talked about dealing with like fear and frustration and like not being able to get our skills and like working through failures. Like that's a lot mentally, along with like school and like life going on. And so what we teach them is that it's important to celebrate your progress, because there is going to be a lot of small wins that you get building up to getting the main goal. And we talked about in week 1, their main goal of like qualifying to nationals or whatever it might be. If they wait until nationals to celebrate, that is a long grind season. And so we really teach them to celebrate their progress, to celebrate the wins. That's going to help continue to encourage them to make those changes, get those skills, do those things. I love ending every single practice as a coach. It's like one win you did and one win from a teammate. And so you as a mom, I think that could even be fun for this week to be putting in like, what's one win you had this week or at practice? And it's just a fun thing to continue to watch them celebrate that progress and help them enjoy the grind a little bit more.
Yeah. Allie, let's actually go back really quick and go over each week and give one tip for a way that you can support your gymnast through that week. So week 1, what will it take to get your season goal? What's one tip for parents?
Honestly, have her write it down on the refrigerator and slap it on there and leave it on there through season. Have her write it somewhere she thinks is important. Have her maybe like put a reminder on her phone. I think just you as a mom, if you help it be in a place that's visual to her consistently, that can make a big difference on redirecting her brain. And when she gets frustrated, you can be like, oh, remember, it's because you want to reach that goal.
Yeah. And we always talk about that goals. It's really about who you become in the process of trying to achieve your goal than the goal itself. It's totally fine to shoot for a big goal and hit 70% of it, because that means that you're still going to go further. And so we don't make not hitting goals mean anything bad. So even that, when she starts like, but I'm not going to hit my goal, like reminding her, it's okay. Like the point is shooting for it. And so what's that silly? If you shoot for the moon, you might still land in the stars, that kind of idea of like shooting for something really high and further so that the place that you get is there. So week 2, when we're talking about dealing with nervous, frustration, and doubt, we actually just did a whole like long thing on frustration on our website. And so I would go watch that. We'll try to link to it here. But really, it's just this idea that frustration, it's like the stepping stones to failure, or the failure stepping stones. It is part of the process. Frustration means she cares. It means she's close. It means she knows she can do it. And so for you, having that mentality yourself, that frustration is a normal part of the process, nothing is going wrong, will take down your temperature about it, which will help take down her temperature about it as well. They always say, like, you as the mom, and if you're watching, like your parent nervous system is regulating your kid's nervous system. So when you help take down your like nervous system around it, and it's fine. Frustration is normal. It means she's building resilience. It means she's getting there. That's going to really help her nervous system go down around it too.
Cool. Week 3, try one thing at a time. I think that as a parent, this is a fun time for you, and to try, instead of being like, oh, did you do it? Did you not do it? Being results focused, to be like, oh, tell me one new thing you tried on that today. Oh, what's one new thing you tried in the gym today, or one new thing you tried on that skill? How did it go? Did it work out for you? And more just asking them out of curiosity rather than like, yes, great, you did it, or no, you didn't. Because it helps them feel more comfortable trying new things as well, and seeing it in a way of like, this is an experiment rather than a good or bad.
Yeah, and a lot of times in getting a new skill, you actually have to put 5 new things in. So trying, even though of those 5 things, each one of them is correct, the one thing at a time is not necessarily going to get a skill, but they have to learn one thing at a time to be able to put all 5 in. And so even just helping with that for your expectation as a parent, like she might try one thing and that might not help her get the skill, but it's still the thing she needs to do, because she just needs to add 4 more things on top of it. All right. Huh?
I'm just laughing. Only 4 more.
Only 4 more. That's it. I mean, you only have to do like 5,000 things to do one gymnastics skill. All right. So week 4 is worthy fails. So one idea that you could do is just ask them like, hey, what's your worthy fail going to be for today? Like, what are you going to try today? And then, again, if they don't get it, be like, awesome, one more time towards, your all the worthy fails that you need to get it. Like that means you're closer to getting it than you've ever been. Now, I do want to say one of the reasons we call them worthy fails is because the failure of not trying at all is not a worthy fail. A worthy fail is like when you try and then it just didn't work out the way that you wanted it to. So just any time that they actually put in the effort to try, but it didn't work out, like celebrating the heck out of that. The last one, celebrating their progress. I love that idea of asking every single day in the card ride home, like, what's one thing that you want to celebrate from today? Even if you feel crappy, even if it feels like a terrible thing. I always tell the kids this. I want you to imagine that I'm like, hey, I want you to come volunteer at this thing for me. I want you to spend, or like the gym is like, hey, come clean out the pit. I want you to volunteer to clean out the pit all day long. And then at the end of the day, your coach is like, all right, come back tomorrow. Like, would you ever want to come back and help volunteer again? Absolutely not. You'd be like, she didn't even say thank you. And that's what your brain actually does when you like give it all of these assignments and then you don't celebrate anything it does. You don't thank it for the work that it did. You don't appreciate any of the effort it put in. It's like, why? Why do I want to come back tomorrow and try again to do this really difficult, scary thing when you're not like, you're never going to appreciate me for it. You're never going to thank me for it. So we teach of that idea of like celebrating actually makes your brain more willing to put in the hard work. And so just encouraging her, like, nope, you got it. She's going to be like, I don't know, it was a terrible practice. And you're like, that's okay. One thing, just pick one thing we want to celebrate from. And I think that can be really helpful. So a reminder of everything that's in Next Level. So in Next Level, we have weekly coaching. And in that weekly coaching, we take them through the things that they're going to need for that week. So we take the lesson that we were just talking about and we kind of workshop it together. We play the lesson for them, we workshop it together. And that is a really helpful way for them to go through the lesson without feeling like they're doing homework. So just getting them to the call or having them watch the replay for that can sometimes be even more helpful than having them just watch the lesson, but either one works. And we have the app so they can watch the lesson or join the call right there on their phone in our app. And then we have throughout the week, we have coaching call available where they can just jump on and get coached about anything they need help with. And then we also have some supplementary courses. So, like the Overcome Fear course, we have a number of other courses that they can jump into in Next Level if they need more than that. We also have Ask a Coach, where if they're struggling with anything, they can get on and just text it. They can be at the gym, run to the bathroom, I need help with this. And we don't always answer immediately, but we're going to be able to answer them long before they would have to wait for their next coaching call. We also have Next Level VIP, which is when they get 2 monthly one-on-one coaching calls. And those are just really helpful to accelerate their progress when they come to that. And one of the things I see happen all the time is parents wait or gymnasts wait to do this training until the kid is in crisis. And so right now we're preparing your gymnast for competition season, but in January, we are going to get a flood of people who now want to join because their kid has started competition season and is freaking out and is not ready. We can help then, but if they start now, they're going to be so much more likely to be in a great place for season, and it's hard to catch them up in January. So I really want to encourage you to jump your kid back into Next Level right now. If you join before October 1st, then you're going to get the full month of value and all of the content, and your kid is going to be in a place where she's really set a successful season. All right, we hope we'll see you next month when we talk about what's next in Next Level. Bye.